The views expressed in this presentation are those of the host and guests and do not represent the views of any lodge, Grand Lodge, appended body, or any other person or persons whomsoever.
Brothers, we are at Refreshment.
They didn't turn off.
I caught the clapper once.
Yeah, they got a shopper that. Yeah.
And with this format, whoever wants to answer can just start chiming in, right? You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's not gonna let up, don't talk over each other.
Okay.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
All right,
You hear that?
what are you doing?
I just want to take a picture.
I love Wes's disgusted face.
He's like, you really gotta take a picture.
Oh, because all the cameras are gone.
Yeah, I can't see anything with the lights.
Yeah, they're going.
I'm gonna be blind after this, the lights and everything.
All right,
Who are you?
ready? This is I-12 International at Refreshment. Hopefully it'll take one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone to the At Refreshment Masonic video podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Wesley Reuter, and along with me, we have
Brock from Raven 303. Confirm.
and
The one and only Party Marty back on the scene. And again, it's Wes, it's great to see you. But look at all these lovely white coats we're surrounded by.
I know we're gonna introduce them, or no, you're gonna introduce them, or they're gonna introduce themselves.
I think they should introduce themselves. I think that'd be the safest move.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull the
This way
safe.
we don't botch
Yeah,
their
I'm gonna
names.
pull the safe senior deacon move. Like, please introduce the visitors. Will the visitors stand up and introduce themselves? So I believe we'll start on this line down here.
Yeah, don't stand up.
Yeah.
John Peter Corelli, General Counsel for High 12.
Kevin Hokirk Robinson, International Treasurer.
Jared Kickline, Third International Vice President.
Conrad Domquist, International Parliamentarian.
Rick Santella, International President.
Tom Brotherton, International Secretary, and I run the organization.
Okay, that's
And who didn't
amazing.
know that?
Because he was joking, he's like, I don't know if I like to be on video, play it coy. I didn't know you had that whole line like holstered. There you go, the minute this was going to start, that's amazing.
So if you've been paying attention to us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, you'll know that this episode is being filmed in Louisiana. We're here for High 12 International's mid-year conference, is it?
Governing Board.
Governing Board conference or just?
Meeting, Governing Board meeting.
Okay. So this is why we're here filming, and everyone's in, well, most of everyone is in white coats. So, Marty, I know you have some words of pleasure you'd like to say.
Well, first, I would actually like to congratulate all of you. I spend many of my weekends at these type of events, and this is one of the more well-organized ones that we've actually been to. It's been a true pleasure, and the care you guys have really put into this is beautiful. And if the hotel says anything about the condition I came in from Bourbon Street last night in, I apologize on behalf of the international body.
And we did have Mark Noakes on a couple previous episodes on, I don't know if he ever answered this question, but maybe somebody here can.
Much respect to past international president Mark Noakes. However, his What is High 12 episode, we left it more confused about what High 12 is.
Yes. So, absolutely. I know we've asked this before, but what is High 12?
Rick, leave the show, buddy.
What we've been talking about a lot this year is we have 3 words associated with High 12, and that's family, fellowship, and future. family in that we're one of the few Masonic bodies that encourages our loved ones and family members to attend. Fellowship in that we have members in High 12 from all across all Masonic bodies. We all get together. We get to share our experiences, share our stories, help each other out. We are Masonry. We are supporting Masonry, Masonry in action, and future, because our main philanthropy is the Walcott Foundation. We support the Walcott Foundation and our youth groups to help get future leaders for our country, which helps us and helps our fraternity as well.
So,
Well, we're way ahead of the Noakes episode.
oh yeah. 100%. Sorry, Mark.
Do I get a cookie?
Yeah, I think I left my half-eaten one away or something like that. So, how did High 12 become High 12? What?
Well, it started with E.C. Walcott having a group of Masons together before 1921. And it was just a fellowship hour, and then they liked it. They met more often. They started the International High 12 Club, which was the original name. And it grew from there. And first club, #1 founders, was started in 1921.
Oh, wow.
In Sioux City, Iowa. So that was our beginnings 103 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Rocky, we were talking in the car on the way to Marty's, and one of the questions you had, why white coats?
Make sure you put like the
Well,
crickets
let me
on
answer it this way. In my few short years in state association and international, I've actually made a couple good tips off of this, because anytime I wore a white coat, I was always asked if I could take a coffee order or not, and I'd get tipped along the way. History of the white coats?
As long as I've been involved with High 12 since '79, state associations generally were in white, except Florida, which is green, and Illinois, which is red.
I love
It's just-
how
I did not know that.
I love how Florida always has to be difficult. Like the story of Florida man will always live. You know, Kevin, this actually isn't an old joke, but I could probably turn it into one if I had to. Are you, since you were involved in '79 in High 12, correct? Are you
Correct.
the longest tenured member that's upright and kicking right now?
Oh, no. No, we got plenty of 50-year and plus members.
Really?
There's some that are over 100.
No,
Years
not your
old.
age, your duration with the organization.
No, there's many that are older than I am.
Okay, cool.
Yep, longer term.
So, do you have to be a Master Mason to be in High 12?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, Master Mason in good standing.
So, how does the women work with High 12?
Well, because, unless anybody else wants to take it, I'll speak again. Because we are light on the ritual and more on the fellowship, there's very little Masonic ritual that will happen that somebody from outside the fraternity cannot see. So we can meet at any venue, usually to a restaurant, a bar, where have you. So it's not a tiled organization or a tiled meeting. So that's how we can allow the women or the loved ones to come in and sit with us. We're also not limited on any of our presentations. It could be on any topic out there. So the women can see that, and in a lot of cases, we have some that are dedicated towards the women attending in that respect.
Do they seem to receive it well and something that they want to come to a lot?
I will tell you emphatically, some of the best attended High 12 Club meetings we have are where the women do attend. And because it's, a lot of times, you know, my wife will ask me, what goes on at a High 12 meeting? And, you know, in a lot of cases you can't tell them, but when she gets to actually see the fellowship, the friends that you've made within the fraternity, sit with other women that are married to or, you know, dating other members, and they get to share the experiences, it starts a groundswell.
And it's a good place for our Masonic widows to come and have fellowship with
Yeah.
their other ladies that they know and the brothers.
And that's a huge
They're not
thing.
excluded.
It's in our main obligation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I'll say, like, so going with, that we could have ladies or guests or really anyone at meetings, that it's open door masonry. That's one of the things that really draws me to this body, and I keep getting more involved and finding ways to like it. Because let's be honest, the only reason
No, lie to us, please.
the only reason a lot of us get to go out and do what we do is because we have a woman at home who said it's okay to go out tonight, honey.
Absolutely.
However, we can't bring them to lodge, York Rite, some other things. But they go to High 12, they get to come, they get to participate, maybe do some of the service projects with us. It's not a night away from home now. It's something that you guys could do together. We have Eastern Star and some of the other bodies where it's a little bit intermingled and everything, but there is just, a unique happiness to High 12 and the way it works. And I think it's great. And most of the guys I know that regularly bring their, significant others to it, they have a great time, and it's, you don't get yelled at as much because you get to bring her along.
Well said, thank you.
I just had a question in my head and I forgot what it was.
Well, I was gonna say I really like the speaker part of like bringing in speakers and stuff like that. I know Marty always puts out an email of who he's got coming the next week, and being able to see that, it really sparks people's interest of like, oh well, and having a variety, having it not be Masonic, that really helps with the wives and with other things.
Yeah.
It's a cool aspect. Did you guys always do that from the start, or is that something new? Oh,
No.
okay, cool. Because even in the old video that we've seen, you see the speakers, the whole thing, and you're like, oh wow, this is cool.
Now, would you guys say this is more of a lunch club, dinner club? It's not somewhere we meet at lodge. So how would you explain that to the
Go ahead, boss,
outsider?
tell 'em.
Yeah.
Because of today's society with work schedule and everything else, in the past, we were usually associated as a lunch club, but now we've expanded that to a whole new ball game in that we have clubs that meet on weekends, we have clubs that meet on the evenings. We have now what's called affinity clubs, where if you have members that are like a cigar club that they have, there's another club that we have that goes to different beer breweries.
That's Jeff Snyder's group down in Florida, correct?
I believe so. And we're starting more that might be involved in hunting or some other hobby. They get together, they enjoy their hobby or interest, and then they have the fellowship within the High 12. So me personally, I no longer consider High 12 a lunch club because we've expanded so many degrees since then.
I know my first experience with High 12, I was just raised a Master Mason, and I think I was there twice, and it was a lunch thing. So for Shael, we did dinner, and I'm like, oh. So for me, it was a lot easier. So I enjoyed that.
Yes, I'm in 2 High 12 clubs. Shiloh High 12, our whole premise is we have to meet at a privately owned restaurant, no chains. Favoritism, if they have a private room we could use, and they have to serve libations.
Yeah,
that's in our bylaws.
McDonald's and Burger King just wouldn't have us.
Yeah. But no, it's great. In my other club, we meet at a moose lodge on weekends, which is actually really interesting because we've since this is all kind of come and working together with the synergy. We've gotten 3 brothers to join High 12 there and then join the Moose in turn. And then we've gotten 1 guy from the Moose to actually join a Blue Lodge because he was sitting in on our meetings. So, I don't know, it's kind of reaching across the aisle. It's pretty positive. I mean, Jared, you're doing a bunch of cool stuff in Pennsylvania. What are you guys all doing?
Well, Pennsylvania, they have the distinction of being the largest state association in High 12 International there. Just so happens to have a large pond to fish from, I guess, for lack of a better term. But again, with that, it's a similar thing to what our international president was saying there. We have some groups that are meeting at lunchtime, some at dinner. Of course, some still are men only. A lot more are embracing the family as we're trying to push that as an initiative. One of the things that I'm really happy to see, it is brought up quite a bit there, is it does give an outlet for just like a low-key way for people to kind of get involved. Our largest club is our Masonic Home Club. And I was just at that not long ago there. Our Right Worshipful Grand Master was fortunate enough to be the guest speaker on that. And the number of ladies that were in that rivaled the men, no question about it. It was, very, very well-attended meeting. The big thing is, of course, it's just like going to lunch with a whole bunch of friends. It's an excuse to get out. It's an excuse to get together. And, even though the world's your oyster, you have the opportunity to do whatever you want all the time. Getting a notice and saying, "Oh yeah, that's actually happening this Thursday. Maybe I should go," kind of spurs people. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm one of those guys that I try to be a self-starter, but it works a lot better when I can say, "Oh, my high 12 is this Thursday. I'm gonna make a point to get myself over there and enjoy a little bit of time with some people I might not have seen for a month or more." One of the things with High 12, you can meet every month, you can meet multiple times a month, or you can meet 4 times a year. It's really your choice as to how much time you have to devote to this organization.
I didn't know that.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's one of the things, and that's the best part about High 12, but something that we have to teach a new generation of Masons of what this club can do, and how you're really given such a blank canvas to paint your own story. I'm going to say something, and maybe it'll be controversial, maybe it won't. But realistically,
what is it you say that isn't controversial?
But one of the things, because I'm a High 12 State Association officer, and I really do believe in this, and I want people to see what it can do. But the one thing is, wasn't that a retirees club?
Oh, I got that.
I know.
Yeah, just for being a Mason. I thought it was a bunch of old men. I'm like, oh,
Okay, if you go back to the early 20th century, how Masonry was running at the time, and who were the masters in the lodge and the members. They were the doctors, the lawyers. John probably remembers back in
Yes,
those
thank you.
days.
Abe Lincoln and I.
It was the business owners, the professional. You didn't have the blue-collared workers back in those days. And that's where High 12 started from. So you didn't have any trouble getting off work to be gone a couple of hours for lunch because you owned the business. I'll be gone. See you when I get back. But in today's world, how many employers would actually give you off 2 hours to go to a meeting every week or twice a month, let alone once a month? And it's a much different society today. And we've had to evolve along with that.
I think that's what the great thing is. We've had so many clubs start where they did dinner clubs, they did weekend, meetings. It really expanded on what they do. I think going back to what you said about the Florida club that meets at the microbreweries, they've got so many microbreweries in their town that they won't visit the same place twice for 10 years. They meet every month.
That's in Tampa?
That's in Tampa.
All right, I just got a whole new respect for Tampa.
Florida, you're back on the map.
Yeah. The Green Jackets are okay.
So how do you get the word out about High 12 to Master Masons? Because I know when I joined, and anytime there's a third degree, nobody's ever like, "Oh, you got to come join High 12." It's like, "Oh, York Rite, Scottish Rite, Shriners."
I'll tell you how we do it in Illinois in the Northern Club. My wife, she turns around everybody who's new, or you ought to come and have this lunch club with us, with my husband and the other Masons. So your wives or your spouses are your best salespeople.
I know it's been successful for me. In New Jersey, we have a very active Facebook page. Okay. We're out on Facebook, we put postings. We try to put public ads or definitions of what High 12 is, who, what, when, where. And the Grand Lodge Publications, the Freemason magazine in New Jersey, they have a constant contact page that they put out every month. If you're in there, again, people see it, they'll eventually ask questions. I know we attended a Grand Lodge in New Jersey where we had an information table. And through that, we have 2, possibly 3 new clubs forming in the state. So you have to just keep on hitting them.
Yeah, visibility.
Whether it be Facebook, whether it be constant contact, articles in different Masonic publications, keep the word out until somebody hears it.
And if your club has your lodge has a bulletin board, and you have a club in the vicinity, put up a High 12 club meets here, and it's obtained from the international secretary. And as members, you can have this narrow piece of paper that's a pocket petition that folds up the size of a business card. Carry that in your
I got
wallet.
one.
And
somewhere
you can always present that. So there's ways that we could be better at promoting High 12.
If I can piggyback on some of that. In addition, a lot of success we're seeing is We're encouraging our club officers, our international officers, to go out to the Blue Lodges and other appendant bodies and do High 12 presentations. We're getting a lot of success off of that. And in addition, because we do support the youth groups, we go out to the youth groups at their conventions or meetings. We get in front of them, we talk about what High 12 is all about. A lot of them either never heard of High 12 or heard of High 12 but didn't know much more about what it was. And what I alluded to earlier is in Pennsylvania, we just did a presentation for our worship master who was a DMLA member, and as soon as he became a worship master, first thing he asked is, can we have the state officers come out and do a presentation, since I'm fully aware of what High 12 is, and I really like what you represented. So it's a lot of face-to-face communication as well.
We are one of the best kept secrets in Masonry, unfortunately.
But I know there's also certain things that we could offer to a Blue Lodge. I know we do Toast to the Flag presentations. Like we come out to an installation and do that, right?
That's a National Sojourners.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah, your face is like, what are you talking about, Marty?
Because Whitman Hewitt, the past international president, has done that many times at international conventions, along with Bill Haynes from Pennsylvania.
Right.
But that's the National Sojourners.
I love that I just struck a nerve, though. That was fun.
Should we slide down a little bit further?
One of those points there, I was going to say, it actually shows that you look through the website, because actually the Toast to the Flag is on the High 12 International website.
That's where I found it.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the things that I don't think people utilize enough is our website. There is a more or less password restricted for membership there. There's a little bit back there, but not a whole lot. More contact information, things that you just don't want the general public to be able to call you up 3 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, if you want to look and see like our suggested ritual, we have no secrets in this organization, as our officers have said here. You know, everybody kind of knows what's going on. Again, if you want to see where your clubs are, there's a very nice map that shows where every club. And interestingly enough with that, one of our clubs that meets maybe about an hour and a half from my local club, I got a phone call from our state president there saying, hey, there's a guy at this club there that wants to know if there's one out in your neck of the woods. He lives 10 minutes from my home High 12 club, had no idea where it was, joined one almost 2 hours away, and now he's going to be visiting our club here because, you know, he was able to make connections with our state association. But if you would have looked on the website, there's a nice little pin right there that shows exactly where we're at. So again, we do have information, might not be extremely prevalent, but if you can get on stuff like our website, you'll learn a lot.
And that's high12.org, correct?
Yes.
HIGH12.org.
Beautiful.
And they can also reach out to me at the secretary at high12.org email. I'll be able to put them in contact with clubs or organizations in their area. For those clubs that we have, there's no association.
You sure that doesn't say secretary who runs everything.org?
No, that's what
That's the new one that's coming. So
That's what his LinkedIn page says.
Been there, done that.
Or you can contact Marty. I'm sure he'll be out there to get a charter started for you.
Yeah.
So before we take a break, one question. I can't remember who, if it was me, you, or what, asked about the symbol. How did that come about, and why is it 3 triangles? Or-
That's a 3-tiered emblem representative of the first 3 degrees of Freemasonry.
Why not 12?
We don't have
That would
12
be
degrees.
too hard to represent.
Too many steps for me to walk.
Yes.
But the 12 is representative of the clock face in the center of the emblem. So,
Yeah.
you know, 12 is represented more than just in text.
And again, on the bells, the High 12 bell that we used to call the meetings to order, again, the three degrees, the clock at high 12 or high noon at 12, and kind of to talk little, to hear much, to reflect upon truth.
That doesn't apply to the talk level,
Well, the truth part might be a little stretching it,
The truth be. So, all right, well, we're going to take a break real quick, and we will be right back. And we're back. We've got a couple other guests to introduce that came on for this segment, and no, Brock did not get instantly old. Brethren, if you can introduce yourselves.
Sure, I'm Michael Clark. I'm a past state president of Michigan and the current chairman of the Walcott Foundation.
I'm Terry Hills. I'm past state president of the State of Illinois Association, and I was appointed chaplain for the International Line this year.
My name is Chris Gibson. I am president of Pennsylvania Association of High 12 Clubs this year and past president of Valley Forge High 12 Club number 305.
Very cool. Well, I'll start with our new guest. How did you guys get involved with, and this will be for everybody, but how did you get involved with High 12?
Well, it started back in 1982 when I was master of my lodge during its 125th anniversary. And the High 12 group that members of our lodge are members of asked me to come and do a presentation on the history of the lodge. And I knew all of them, so I came down there and did a presentation, did a PowerPoint presentation, and was really enjoying it. I was a high school teacher then at that time, so they wouldn't let me out for lunch to go into Grand Rapids. But I stayed in touch with them, and when after I retired, moved back to Michigan from Florida, I immediately joined High 12 and got involved and was president and state president and got involved in Walcott through that as well.
Just, we can go down the line.
I was newly back to Freemasonry after a 15-year departure, and I had heard about this lunch group, and being that I work for a living, lunch meetings were a little iffy, but I just started having Tuesdays off, and so I started going to the lunch meetings and really enjoyed my time. I was a young guy, and of course, being a young guy in any of the independent bodies, they immediately go, well, we're going to give you an office, and worked my way up.
Yeah, Marty was trying to do that to me in the car earlier. I'm like, no.
My exposure to High 12 clubs, I was invited by a very good mutual friend of the other president, international president. He's past president of Pennsylvania Association of High 12 Clubs by the name of Frank Lorraine, and he was president that year of the club and said, hey, what are you doing next Tuesday? Okay, Frank, what's going on? And he said, I want you to come visit my High 12 club. And I went there, walked in the door and said, this is really cool. So I've been a member ever since.
No, we did ask everybody that question in the first segment, right?
No.
So I'm dealing with a Bourbon Street hangover, so I can't remember.
No.
Well, we skipped over you, brother, so that's what. Yeah, how did you get involved with High 12?
How did I get involved in High 12? A gentleman named Mark Noakes,
It'll get you every time.
past international president, he's dragged me into a half dozen different organizations.
He's got a couple more for you, but
I know.
And brother, I realize we didn't introduce you. So please introduce yourself.
No worries.
I'm a terrible host, so.
Hey, you're learning.
Yeah, that's my excuse all
As long
the
as you
time.
just keep driving with Marty, you'll be okay. All right? But no, my name is Dan O'Rourke. I am the club president for Liberty High 780 Club out of Bristol, PA. And thank you for having me here today. I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. Yeah. And how did you get involved in High 12?
How did I get involved with High 12? Well, Steve Morrison, and who was with Scottish Rite at that time, was talking to me about High 12. And then Rick Santella also approached me on it, and I went there one day, seen some of the guys I've been dealing with throughout the different branches of the Masonic fraternities, and been there ever since, and I'm enjoying it. And now I'm enjoying running this 12. You know, it's a great opportunity. I appreciate it.
Our chaplain of my Blue Lodge at that time was a state officer of Pennsylvania High 12, Bill Hartman. And he's talking to me one day. He says, you know, I really want to bring you out to my High 12 club so you can see what it's all about. I went there, and I've been hooked ever since. Just naturally was attracted to it.
did you have any idea at that point you'd end up being international president?
I didn't even know I was going to be a club officer at that point. I was just happy to be around a lot of brothers that I knew, shared the fellowship, and enjoy the day.
It's amazing how these roads work sometimes.
You
It
tell
really
me
is.
that.
Even the purple of our fraternity.
They definitely intertwine with each other.
You know, there are a lot of good jokes that start out with Mark Noakes walked into a high 12 club.
Gosh, you can't imagine what he's going to be thinking when he sees
Hey,
this.
brother, how'd you get involved?
As a New Jersey Freemason, one of the things that you have to do is visit the Masonic home. And went to the Masonic home and happened to be there on a Monday, which is when the High Club 12, when they met. And I knew one of the brothers who was there. He called me and he said, come on, have lunch with us. I did. And he said, Conrad, I want to tell you something. You're going to follow me as president next year, okay? And that's all she wrote.
I love it. Now, and when you say Masonic home, that's a retirement community for brothers and their wives?
Yes.
Now, and I know, how many Masonic homes do we actually have clubs at right now?
Michigan.
Where'd that secretary go?
The guy that rules everything is county.
For those that don't know, Thomas is off screen, but he's counting on his toes, and this is very weird.
Well, as the former secretary, Pennsylvania, Florida, Michigan, California, New Jersey, so quite a few.
Very cool.
Rough guess, I believe 6.
6, so I thought.
Yeah. You know, and that's awesome, and it's such a great way to kind of keep the brothers involved on, you know, and that's such a huge thing, and we really owe it always to the, you know, the generation that preceded us, and that is actually super cool. But actually, Wes, so right before we went to break, this gentleman down here was actually telling me how he revitalized his club, and then I said, shut up, that's interesting, you put it on the show, tell me now.
Okay, yeah. Well, we started after COVID.
Okay.
COVID, as most of us know, COVID took a beating on a lot of us. We just got out of touch with everybody. We weren't associating. The only thing we had left was Zoom. And so everybody was trying to do Mason things on Zoom. Well, you can't hold ritual on Zoom, so it took a beating. We brought the club back. It was very hard at first. It was in a hiatus for 2 years. No meetings, no nothing, no bills, no nothing was paid. And the Walcott took a beating as well because we didn't take any income in from it. We didn't give any income from it. So we started it out. We decided we were going to meet on a Monday. Brother Rick Santel reached out to me and asked if I'd be present, and I agreed to it. And with the help of the members, the wives, we're up to 40 members now.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking forward to that. But I think a lot of the great success is just not from us doing our part to get out, but it's the other members that are helping us get the word out by utilizing, it's an ambassador's coin that we give out in the Blue Lodge. We'll give it out to a brother, say, hey, meal's free, come out, come join us. But here's one step further, bring your wife with you. We've talked about this earlier, wives are important to this.
The most important.
Well, they let us out. Where are you going today? I'm going out to another one? Well, guess what? This time you can come with me. Mm-hmm. And it's enjoyable to have them. And I'm sure all the brothers here would agree with that. The biggest thing is, though, we have to, and we've talked about this off camera, get out of the past, move forward, but recognize the middle. And we have to. And so right now our lodge is flourishing. We left that in November. We didn't have a meeting for December because Christmas fell right close on our meeting. But we left November with a positive note, and we left on a high note. And the membership is happy, it's content, and they're bringing people in. And I hope it continues because we need to support our charities. And so yeah, that's the biggest thing. And we do meet on a Sunday.
Oh, okay.
You know, so everybody thinks the Sunday's hard. It's not hard.
Well, no, because usually in just about everything Freemasonry, Sunday is a no-no.
It's usually like installations.
Yeah, installations are fine, but there, no meetings, no degrees or anything like that, so I didn't even realize.
That's actually
it
pretty
was
cool. So when you came to be president, were you an officer before that, or were you pretty much just put in the driver's seat and said good luck?
No. I started out as third vice president.
Okay.
And actually, just as I got to third vice president, maybe 3 months later, we were in pandemic mode. So we did nothing. So I just sat limber. A lot of us, we were just in limbo.
So right now, let's say there's a brother in your situation, maybe he's helming his High 12 club to get it back in order, maybe he's trying to revitalize a lodge, a chapter, or anything. What advice would you give to a brother in that role kicking off? Like, what was the first thing in your head, you're like, I gotta do this?
Well, the biggest thing is I would get with the elders that have been through the brothers and have gone through the seat of the presidency. But I would make sure in this day and age that your wives are involved, or your girlfriends, or your significant others. Utilize all lines of the media.
So, what does it take to run a successful High 12 group? Or
Honestly, I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still building it, and I hope that I leave it successful to my next predecessor who's going to take over for me. And
you hope?
I hope. I don't think everything is absolute. I think everything can be built on, and I think as a fraternity as a whole, I think that's what we're trying to do to come back from the pandemic, and that's all branches, all extensions of Masonry, everything. I think that's what we're all trying to do, and it's very hard, and that's why we're sitting here having these conversations with you to put this out even further. And I think that's what we need to do. But make sure the wives are involved. Make sure you use your coins. Go into the lodge, the Blue Lodges, Scottish Rite, Shriners. Pass out them coins and just say, hey, you know, I think you'll like this. And, you know, come and fellowship with us. Because at the end of the day, we are fellowship. We are family. Two kinds of family, but we're family. And we have to protect the future of our fraternity.
Does anybody else want to add to that?
That's actually a great question.
I mean, I'm sure the success rate is different, and everybody does something different in their clubs.
To add on to what's necessary, communication.
Yes.
Especially coming out of COVID. A lot of people didn't realize that we were meeting again. So we have made use of PhoneVite. And it costs, we have 28 members in our club. It costs me $1.53 a month to send out 28 phone messages, and I do it at the same time on a Saturday, 1:30 in the afternoon. We meet on Mondays. Just send it out, remind them of the meeting, tell them what program we're going to have, and it keeps them in their minds that we are meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, I remember we got to go High 12 on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had very, very good success with that. Even in some of our chapters, my lodge has started doing PhoneVite. We have over 200 members, and we're trying to use it. And we had 37 at our last lodge meeting. We normally average about 25. We had 37, and I saw a couple of brothers I hadn't seen in quite a while, and they said they heard the PhoneVite and decided to come.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to try something new. You know, if it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work. Find something else. We, in our club, one of the things that we did back when I was president, we were sitting around just like this, talking. And I said, what can we do to involve everybody? And the idea came up with the wives. You know, we've always had the wives there, and we've always had the widows there. And that's really important, because they lose touch with the Masonic fraternity when the husband passes. They want to be involved. Remember, many of them, Masonry's been their whole life. And all of a sudden their husband passes and there's a void. So what we did is we put together a membership card. It's a lifetime membership card, and it says our club is in Furniture City, number 236, and it's called Ladies of Furniture City, number 236. You are hereby entitled to a lifetime membership in our club and are invited to every meeting from now to eternity. And they love it. They love it. If we get a new member, we not only give them their dues card and their pin, but we also present the lady with her membership card.
See,
And
Wes,
it
I'd
has-
like to piggyback on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like that so much that I'm going to bring that back to my lodge. And this is how we learn and communicate.
Sure.
And I like that.
It works.
I
It works.
do have a bit of a strange question, and forgive me, I'm from Illinois, but you said, Furniture City, you meet in a furniture store?
No. A history lesson, you little weed hopper.
Weed hopper.
Grand Rapids, Michigan, in the late 1800s and early 1900s was the furniture capital of the world. We had 47 major furniture companies manufacturing furniture in Grand Rapids. They used to float logs from the upper part of Michigan down the Grand River, and they were then milled in the sawmills right in Grand Rapids, and the furniture is built. Companies like Whitcomb that you can still buy high-end furniture from are right in Grand Rapids.
Oh, wow.
So the museum in Grand Rapids has one of the old working big sawmills, and our lodge furniture was built in Grand Rapids in 1894. And if you look underneath some of the long benches we have, you can still see the tooth marks of those great big 8-foot diameter saws that they use. That was run by water power coming down the Grand River.
Wow.
And so that's part of our history. And our furniture is beautiful. It looks like it's brand new. And we take a lot of pride in it. But that's where Furniture City came from.
Oh, nice.
And there still is a very large furniture museum and a large furniture retail building that is full of Masonic symbols on the outside of the building.
Oh, wow.
Because every member, every owner of a furniture company in Grand Rapids was a Mason.
Wow.
22 mayors of Grand Rapids have been Masons. So we go back, my lodge is celebrating next year our 175th anniversary. And we were the first lodge in Grand Rapids in 1850, and we preceded Grand Rapids being a city. So we've been around a long time. And we've had a lot of history there, and we're really looking forward to it.
That's what I
It'll be
love
fun.
about this organization. You know, we can never see each other and talk, and we come out
Yep.
and we learn something new every time. It's never changed.
And that's where the communication
learn.
comes from.
Yeah.
And that's why it says, reflect, listen, talk a little,
Why you
and
looking at me
listen.
when you say that?
That's right.
Marty's doing
But
very
you'll
well.
never be able to listen unless somebody is talking and telling you information that's good. And that's exactly what we do.
Beautiful. You always learn. I mean, it's a great thing.
Terry, your club, you guys do a promotion with the local pizzeria, or how do you guys do that?
Yes. If anybody goes out on the internet, you're going to find that different restaurants and if they're especially chain restaurants, they'll do a community day. Ours is Monocle's Pizza, which is an Illinois-based pizza company, and twice a year we're able to do a fundraiser where all we have to do is set the date. They'll send us an e-copy of the flyer. We pass those flyers out to everybody, and you take that flyer in and order your pizza, hand them the flyer. 20% of your pre-tax order is figured out and is donated to your organization. You do nothing no work except for passing them out. You can do it twice a year. Our High 12 group has done it several times. We can make in our small town, a couple $100.
Yes,
That's a couple $100 that you can. And I went and did a little bit of research, and we don't have any close to us, but White Castle has a community day that you can do. I tell it to the Illinois boys because.
Well, I try not to eat at White Castle, but there's some nights, especially just one recently with Marty and I'm like, woke up, oh, there's White Castle, okay, and then they were gone.
That was a great night because we're both older humans, Wes. But
Speak for
I
yourself.
know, right? But my mom had to pick us up from that party, and then I was like, "Mom, can we go to White Castle?" So that was a lot of fun. Actually, one thing because we love the idea of making sure that our significant others have equal equity in this. One thing Shiloh High 12 Club does is, of course, our main focus is supporting the Walcott, but we do a service project every year. Our first year, we raised money for a battered women's shelter in Rockford, Illinois, and donated, I think, bags, because they need bags if these women in situations have to flee quickly. Our second year, we put up one of those little libraries in lodge's yard, which was really cool. Right now, we are raising funds for like an autistic, special needs housing, I guess. I don't know if I'm using the right word. But we're donating stuff to them, and then we're going to have a big cookout for them this summer. But all these projects every year, the switch, whoever the club president is, his wife picks the project. And then all the girls rally around her, and it's really, and it's a fun way, and then you're always kind of changing what you're doing, and you're letting her have something that she's passionate about. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Marty, you know why the women are important. Somebody has to drive.
Oh yeah, that's good. Let me join High 12 right
You don't
now.
even know what's funny about that, but for anyone in the Grand Chapter, you knew what happened in Champaign that one weekend. We'll talk about that later.
I think those achievements that you were just speaking about, those are the kind of stories that we need to see more of in our High 12E magazine, our monthly update, because we have to get that kind of passion out to the other clubs so that they can surround themselves with that too.
About a year ago, I visited Chi, Illinois, doing a walkout presentation, and part of their meeting was the wives standing up telling about what they were doing every Saturday in the future. And I was so impressed. They picked out a different local organization that had a function going on. They called them up and said, we want to come and volunteer to do whatever you want us to do.
Oh yeah, that was
And they went and they had like 6 or 7 lined up in the next few weeks. And I was so impressed with that because there wasn't 1 or 2 ladies, there were 12, 15, 20 ladies that went every Saturday to do that. And they just wanted to show up and help out however they could. Nothing for the club, nothing for Masonry, nothing for the organization, but they were focusing on whatever that organization was. And Marty, I was really impressed with that. I really was.
I appreciate you coming up from Michigan. For
Well,
that.
my pleasure. I had a ball.
Yeah, and,
If you haven't been to a Chi, Illinois club meeting, that is fun. That is fun.
And awesome food.
Yes, but what he didn't tell you about those 12 to 15 ladies they didn't mention, I'm also a polygamist.
Yes.
Why did that joke land? I thought that was going to be so good. Wow, I feel embarrassed now.
I mean, I got it. I smiled, but I just didn't want to laugh. But,
None of them except your wife would agree with that.
True story. Oh man, I love it. I guess we're about to go to break again. I'd love to come back, talk a little about Walcott, and send us off with a message from our president. What do you think, Wes?
yeah, we can do that. And what I didn't realize either was that we have signs and symbols in this club, which is new to me, and I've been a member for how long?
So hold on.
So no.
Are we going to reveal these signs and symbols on this episode?
I don't know.
You already did.
We can.
Well, no. That was during the break.
Oh,
During the break. Yeah.
So that I'm just. Anyway, all right.
So for everyone watching at home, you're about to get the secrets of masonry here.
Well, I think go to High 12. Maybe not Mason.
No.
Well, when
Just
somebody...
tune in, it's coming.
You want to close with it or you want to come?
No, we're going to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
All right,
good.
we're taking a break. We'll be right back. And we're back. So we're going to talk about signs and symbols. And this is probably going to be the 5th time you've explained it in the last 2 minutes. So if you don't mind doing it again.
You know, it is something that kind of disappeared for a while. And I've done it when I've done installations and I've done walkout presentations. Sometimes I'm there for installation. And it kind of got away from it, the signs and symbols. There are a lot more that were in the old days that I can't remember, and neither can anybody else at this table. But there's 2 basic ones that we tell when we have a new member come in. And the first one, of course, is one of the signs is pouring of coffee. And that's a sign. And the word is more. And what in many High 12 clubs, the newest member was always responsible after they ate their meal quickly to get the coffee pot and go around and refill everybody's coffee cup. So that's where the word more came from. So we can have a little fun with it if you want. It's up to you and your club. Have whoever does the coffee. But It's fun to teach it, and it gets a good laugh, and it's, again, something else that sets us apart.
All right, and we'll get to this real quick since we mess a lot of things up on the show constantly and get Grand Lodges upset with us. But there's a bit of a disclaimer.
Yes, two things, three things. When the club starts, it must follow their Grand Lodge's rules and edicts when they begin. I wanted to clarify as far as clubs meeting on Sundays, it is up to what your Grand Lodge's rules and edicts are. The club that Brother Dan was speaking about earlier, which is my home club, we do meet on Sundays, but Pennsylvania Grand Lodge states that we can meet after 2 p.m. That way it gives people to spend time in their religious organizations. Also, the other thing I wanted to bring up was as far as a women's being members of a club. Women cannot be a member of a club, but they are considered by that club solely as an honorary type membership. That this way they don't have any rules, they don't have any vote or any kind of membership rights to it, but this way they're considered this way, so that way they can still take part and be welcome at the club and still receive the notices. That way, even though they lost their husbands or their loved ones, that they can still take part of the club. That's all I just want to bring up. Thank you.
That's a good international secretary.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Want an ad refreshment job? Did you have to say something, or was that part of
I
what
believe
we're
Kevin
doing?
was going to talk about the international clubs.
Oh, okay. That's
Okay.
what it was.
Not to forget our foreign clubs. We have 3 clubs in Japan. We have one in Rio de Janeiro. We have one in Mexico City. We have one in Scotland. We have 3 in the UK.
Yep.
We have some brothers in Bulgaria. And years past, we were almost on every Air Force base around the country.
Wow.
Really?
Around the world. Masonry was big in the Air Force. Don't know why, I wasn't around back in those days, but my original club I joined was on Davis Mountain Air Force Base in Tucson, and it was a SAC Air Force Base, and we all had DOD stickers to get on with no trouble.
Oh, wow.
And we met at the NCO club and then at the officers club, so we had the blessing of the base commander each year. So we were Philippines, all over the place. So it is amazing where we have been. It'd be nice to be back there again, but we're not big in the military anymore. Also, we have what's called the President's Club. And that's for those Masons that maybe don't live in a state where we are formed in, or in a state where clubs have closed or the state association has dissolved, whatever, they can transfer their membership at no cost to the President's Club and still have all the rights and benefits and get all the fundraisers and the magazine and different things. So they stay connected. We had that in New Jersey, a number of the clubs there. So it is another important thing of keeping us united as a group.
So we started in Sioux City, Iowa. When was the first expansion out of the States? Do we know what country it was?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. It's documented in paperwork.
Oh, I'm sure.
And Tom has that.
I have it. It's not on me right now.
Do we have any other, countries or anything we're thinking about trying to go to or get back to? I mean, Masonry's huge in the Philippines.
We actually have a club that wants to open up in Canada right now, but we're still waiting on the Grand Lodge permissions. Scotland was our newest club that started. That was about 2 years in the making. We hit a little bit of a stall over the past year, but they're now officially opened up as of September, I believe, was their charter date of this year, I believe.
Very cool.
Before that, we've had, like Brother Kevin said, Rio, Mexico City, several throughout that area. I think our other side from Scotland was the club in Japan. Our second club in Japan was our other most recent foreign club that started.
I think did the Grand Master actually join the same day with the club, or?
I believe so.
Yeah, I read a cool, internet article about that, but it looked very positive.
Well, one of the Japanese clubs is purely Japanese. And
Oh, yeah.
the other club is Americanized. But there was one brother that only speaks English that tried to go to the Japanese club, and he felt like a bump on a log there because, you know, he didn't understand anything that was going on. But
That was a good way to get out of speaking.
No speaking.
That's a high 12 club for me. All right, Marty, you wanted to talk about the Walcott?
Well, I love the Walcott Foundation. I love our ties to George Washington University. I love what it does for the kids. But actually, that guy sitting next to you is way more qualified than me to touch on this.
Thank you. Walcott is very unique in Masonry. We are a Masonic educational foundation at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Walcott was started around about 1947 with the Penny Fund, which we've talked about earlier. But in the early 90s, about 50 or 51, it evolved at Temple University, of all places, where several members of High 12 thought they needed to find something that we could do to provide a moral compass in the government. That was their quote. And so they decided, rather than do it at Temple University, because George Washington University is just 2 blocks from the White House and 4 blocks from the Capitol, and they've always provided a lot of students who went to work in federal government in particular. So they decided to establish it at George Washington University. GW told me recently that their earliest fellowship or scholarship back then was dated 1953 and was for $1,780. Since that point, we have now in our about 65th year and given over 500 fellowships, and tuition at George Washington University for the 2-year graduate level fellowship. And they do a graduate level degree at the Elliott School, at the Trachtenberg School, or the George Washington School of Business, is around $90,000 for the 2-year 40 credit hour fellowship. Walcott provides $30,000 of that from our Walcott Fund. George Washington University works very, very hard and 99.9% of the time are successful in finding the remainder of that money to cover all of our Walcott Fellows. On an average, we have between 5 and 10 Walcott Fellows every year, so we usually have anywhere between 10 and 20 Walcott Fellows in any 2-year period. They are almost every one of them work either part-time or full-time while they're going to school in federal government, which is just across the street and down the road a little ways. They work in all branches of the federal government. The State Department seems to be the most popular, and most of them will stay in that position once they graduate. They will move up. We have had United States Ambassador Charles Ford in the 1990s, who was United States Ambassador, was a Walcott Fellow in 1975. We have had several international Walcott Fellows go and serve overseas as diplomats. A couple of them just came back, Lincoln McCurdy in particular, who is helping us now with some of our fundraising. These are very high-placed government officials who have been Walcott Fellows. We believe we have about 100 Walcott Fellows working in federal government right now in Washington, D.C. We do know of a couple departments where there are 3 levels of management of Walcott Fellows,
Really?
which is pretty cool, we think.
That is awesome.
And we've found that when somebody goes to work over the department, one of the first things they are asked, if somebody will come by, a Walcott Fellow come by, were you a Walcott Fellow? So they find out from GW that they were, and they have a big welcome, and they immediately have a bond. It's wonderful what they do. GW is fantastic with us. They are so cooperative, and they have continually made sure that our Walcott Fellows, by the way, we are the oldest fellowship at George Washington University. George Washington University was founded by an act of Congress in 1821. So they've been around a while. So that is really important to us. We have recently worked out a new funding agreement with George Washington University where we transferred $4 million out of the Walcott investment account to put directly into George Washington University's General Scholarship Fund. It's listed under Walcott Foundation Fellowship Trust Fund. What it does is save us, first of all, from having to write a couple $100,000 worth of checks every year. They take it immediately out of that fund. GW does not charge us any investment fees, any investment charges or management charges. We are earning interest and dividends on the same amount of money that GW's over $2 billion in general investment fund earns. So if we were earning 16% back, as our then $5 or $6 million fund, we're doing a little bit better than that right now.
That's awesome.
So we're very excited about that. We just signed that, transferred $4 million over. And the changes that have come out of that is that instead of the Walcott trustees, of which there are 5 of us around the country, going and looking over in one year 150 applications, which each take about a half hour to review, we normally get 35 to 50. Because the requirements are, they first of all must be a United States citizen or a naturalized citizen and prove it. They have to have a minimum 3.80 GPA out of 4.0. No exceptions. No exceptions. And I always tell them I had a 4 point, I had a 1 point each of my 4 years. That's great. But so that eliminates a lot of people right there. They have to now, with some of the new questions we have, we are finding out, because we are not evaluating George Washington University's administration staff and admission staff that all have Masonic backgrounds. Now we'll talk about that in just a minute. Are evaluating them. One of the questions is, tell us what you know about Masonic values and principles and how you have applied them in your life. That's the #1 question.
Well, I feel like ending this show now because I have no idea if I
Google like crazy. But what we have found is that those coming in, they know about Masonry. That's one of the questions I get asked a lot when I'm doing presentations. What do they know about Masonry? I'm always amazed at how much they know about Masonry. My grandfather was a Mason. My grandmother, one of our Walcott Fellows a couple of years ago, Olivia, she found out her grandmother had been an Eastern Star. And guess what she is? She's worthy matron this year in Washington, D.C. of her Eastern Star. We've had a few, not a whole lot, but a few of our fellows have become Masons. But they all have an interest in Masonry. They all know about Masonry. They all learned about Masonry.
That's an amazing situation. But let's say just me. I don't have a 3.8. I don't have billions. I don't go to my college.
3.7.
Yeah. But what could an average high 12 member like me do at every meeting to help make sure that our amazing foundation keeps going? What can I do, Mike?
Well, one of the things that we are making changes is, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow during our meeting, is we are redoing the way we do our Walcott education. We have 5 trustees around the nation. Each one of us have over 5 states and an international country that we're responsible for. I have to be responsible for the UK, and I've done a couple of Zoom broadcasts, which is pretty cool. But we are going to now put the responsibility on each individual club's Walcott representative. We're going to provide that representative with materials. That twice a year they're going to have a Walcott Day, and they're going to spend the day talking about Walcott. We're going to give them all the materials they need, brochure handouts. If they can do a PowerPoint presentation, we have that all set for them. So everything, they simply read it off the sheet to tell everybody about Walcott. We have the Walcott pins that we sell, and as a result, we think that will get to more people more often.
So we don't stuff money into that thing?
Well, that's the next part.
You're like giving me all this. I was like, oh, I just threw you a softball.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Before I start the schoolhouse, I want to say we do have a high 12 club in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
that it turns out all the members are GW graduates.
Yes.
Oh, that's
wow. And because of the jobs they hold in government, we have to hide all their names.
Yes,
and information.
And if I can add to that, there is a Masonic lodge within the walls of George Washington University. That's for the students, faculty, administration, ex-students, ex-faculty. They have over 200 members. It was built by the university because about, and this is a number I was told, about 10% of the faculty and administration at George Washington University have a Masonic contact. They have a brand new president, Dr. Ellen Granberg. And Dr. Granberg is the first non-Mason president of George Washington University. Now, but wait. There were 18 minutes. The rest of the story is, I'm sitting at lunch with Dr. Granberg, and I mentioned that to her. And she says, well, what makes you think I don't have a Masonic contact? I said, I don't know. She says, I was a Job's daughter for 10 years, and I was a past honored queen, and my father and grandfather were 33rds. Now, what are the chances? I said, did they know that when you did your interview to be president? She said, no, and I didn't know the previous 18 were Masons, including Dr. Trachtenberg, who is in the Scottish Rite Temple in Grand Rapids, in Washington, D.C. His portrait is up there. He's in the Inner Circle Scottish Rite. She said, I said, what are the chances of you being selected president of the university with a Masonic background to continue that line?
That's awesome.
The supreme architect of the universe was smiling on us that day.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that because we're about to close down the episode. So,
The schoolhouse with a smokestack and a door is present at all High 12 meetings. It can be passed around where everybody gets to drop some folded money in and celebrate a birthday, an anniversary, grandchild being born, etc. Or in the case of some people that forget to introduce wives, instead of buying diamonds or dresses, they can make a donation. But all monies that go in here are dedicated to the Wolcott Foundation.
yeah, it looks like some of us want to put some money in there.
Yeah. I mean, now that I know the president's a Joby, I can support it.
Yeah. And Marty, we like silent donations.
Really, after all that talking you just did, you're going to say that?
I tell them if they put more money in, I quiet down quicker.
Well, guys, this is bringing us to the end of our episode. If you have not seen our show before, we usually give a shout out. We call them shout out and shots out. Well, we don't have shots with us today. So is there anybody you guys would like to give a shout out to real quick? Don't all jump at once. Wait, don't let this guy talk again. You speak.
Shout out to Illinois High 12 Association. I know that they're going to be watching on Zoom during our Saturday meeting. I wish you guys could have made it down here with me because this is a ball.
I'm third vice president. I'm here.
Well, I don't know if this is a shout out or not, but it's my favorite quote from one of our brothers, and I have it in the lodge in my office. A man's got to have a code, a creed to live by. Brother John Wayne.
And Brother John Wayne was raised in the lodge building. My lodge is from Mary McDaniel in Tucson, Arizona.
And President Gerald Ford was initiated in my lodge.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
And to my Sun City West High 12 Club, 567 tomorrow. I won't be able to do your installation because, well, I'm here. But next year, I can do it.
If I may, I'd like, on a personal note, like to shout out to my father, who just turned 92 a couple months ago.
Oh, nice.
He is a High 12 member, and he loves coming to High 12 just to be amongst the other Masons. So, Dad, we're looking out for you.
Yeah. Anybody else before? No. Did you want to?
I was just going to say a shout out to all the Wolcott fellows who represent Masonry and represent High 12 so well. Over 300 living that are still working or retired. Thank you for all you've done to make Masonry and High 12 known and your service to our government. We appreciate it.
Marty, do you have any?
Honestly, I don't have anything to say that our president can't say better. So I'm going to take my talking time, and I'm going to pass it right to my good friend Rick, our international president, to close the show. Brother, let us know your thoughts.
No pressure. Where's the bottle? I'd like to first say thank you to Brock, Wes, and Marty for allowing us to take part on this. This means a whole lot to us, and we can't say thank you enough. To all our members, I think you've heard enough tonight on the flexibility that High 12 offers. We can meet anytime, anywhere, any place. So that affords a lot of flexibility for you. I think communication is huge on our part this year. So I ask all our officers and members to keep spreading the word to our other Master Masons, invite them to a High 12 club so they can see for themselves the benefit of being a High 12 member. And lastly, I'd like to say, through tonight's broadcast, you've seen the quality and the caliber of all our members tonight, so why not look at High 12? Thank you all, and safe travels.
Well, brethren, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. You guys are brave for doing this. And if all you out there haven't figured it out, you're watching us on YouTube, Rumble, listen to us on Apple, Google, Spotify, and something else I keep forgetting. So anyways, that's our episode. If you haven't, please like and subscribe, tell everyone about us, and have a good night. Woo! Or day, whatever it is.
These brethren into the fellowship of High 12. The officers of High 12 International, after due investigation, have reported favorably upon the application of these brethren, who have given proof that they are members in good standing of their Masonic lodges. At this time, Brother Brock, we will formally induct you into membership of your High 12 club. The general objectives of High 12 are to unite Masons in happy bonds of fraternal hour, to practice the great lessons and truth of Masonry without trespassing on the principles and prerogatives of the fraternity. This includes perpetual encouragement to attend and participate in Blue Lodge activities in service to Brother Masons. In addition, Brother Robert, to preserve the fundamentals, principles of our government, and to encourage and promote the public school system, to give support and personal attention to America's youth, especially Masonic-related groups, to identify with the state and international High 12 organization whose goals include the general welfare of mankind, to support and encourage the aims and growth of the Walcott Foundation, a principal project of High 12 International. I therefore ask you, my brethren, do you subscribe to these ideals and acknowledge and accept, within reasonable limits of your ability, the responsibility of supporting and participating in the functioning of your club? Thank you. In consequence of your agreement to these Masonic principles, and above all, because of your love of Masonry, I now formally welcome you as a brother High 12ian to partake of our benefits and privileges. Thank you. Thanks so much.
We're not done yet.
Brethren, wait, no, don't go anywhere. Brethren, I now present you. I'm a little nervous on pinning on that jacket. Anyway. Upon this pin, you'll see inscribed the credo of High 12 International. You will note it admonishes us to reflect upon truth, to speak little, to hear much. The pin bears the symbol of time, which signifies the hour of refreshment to which we meet and break bread as brothers of our ancient craft. I'm also going to give you a emblem. It has an adhesive back. I've seen it used many, many different ways, all well. And again, an opportunity for you to look at the principles of our order. At this time,
now, brothers, by this little ceremony, you have been inducted into the Fellowship of High 12, one of the greatest satellite organizations within Freemason. We're indeed proud to add your name to the memberships of the rolls of High 12 International, and hope that you will find fellowship with your brother Masons when the meetings are most enjoyable. However, the fellowship to the fullest, to enjoy the fellowship to the fullest, you must be invested with the grip and word, which can only be given in the presence of the working tools of the club, which are the knife and fork and spoon. The grip is made in this manner. Do it with me. There you go. And it alludes to serving the brother of that important Masonic beverage. With the assistance of your brother, we will now give you the word, which is more. As the newest members of our craft, you will at your table see that the cups of your brothers are kept full. And upon hearing the word more, spoken by a brother, you will immediately apply the grip of the coffee mug and fill that brother's cup. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
You may now be seated, but if you want to have the floor, the floor is yours.
Absolutely love High 12. After I received the petition, I was planning on joining when I got home. So, shoot, you guys saved me a few weeks probably. So, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Very cool.
Thank you. I've had the pleasure of speaking at many High 12 clubs over the years, particularly in Arizona, where I've had lots of good friends and good fellowship over the years. So it makes me proud that I'm part of this select group of High 12ians, and thank you very much for the honour.